Hi, my name is Yulia Valdez, and I did my Three Worlds presentation on the passage from Matthew 13, verse 3 to 9, where Jesus talks in parables about the sower going out into the field and the seed falling into four different soils. The literally world of this passage is Jesus explaining actually later on in a text in verses 18 through 23. That when anyone hears the word but does not understand it, the devil comes in and steals it away. That was the example of the seed falling in a path. The second seed fell in a rocky ground, and Jesus explained it that it was a person who hears the word and receives it with joy, but as soon as the trouble comes, the person just falls away and forgets about it. The third seed falls among the thorns. That one is who hears the word, but the attachment to the materialistic world gets in the way and the person forgets about the word. The last one tells us the seed falls into good soil, and that's basically Jesus is saying when a person hears the word and understands it, he or she actually goes and passes it on and teaches others. And so Jesus makes a point to his disciples why he speaks in parable. He is saying that not everyone will take his teachings, and the big picture here is to teach disciples that when they teach others, that only some will actually take in the knowledge and multiply it. In Matthew 13, Jesus teaching his disciples about the world, the different people, and how to teach and receive the word. Jesus spoke in a lot of parables, and when disciple asked him why, Jesus told him that in Matthew 13:13, he's saying, seeing they do not perceive, and hearing they do not listen, nor do they understand. Jesus is basically saying that the only people that would be the secrets of the heaven will be revealed to is who's actually wanting to know and seeking Jesus. The historical world, to benefit from this passage, the reader needs to understand, what Jesus is talking about. What disciples and parables are. Some people may not know. Disciples were chosen followers of Jesus who left everything behind to follow him and learn the word of God. Parables is what Jesus used to teach people. It's basically telling a story, but in riddles. In order to understand it, they kind of had to solve the puzzle. Jesus uses parables to make a point that only people who are seeking the truth will be able to understand. Jesus spoke in code, and so that the Pharisees would not understand it, because he needed to teach his people before he was crucified. Also, in the beginning of the chapter, Matthew talks about the setting, where it says, same day Jesus went out of the house and sat beside the sea. So by telling us that, it kind of let us know that it gives us the information that it was the same day after Jesus was rejected by the Israel. And the whole theme of Matthew is that Jesus is the Messiah, and basically the rejection of Jesus by the Israel, by Pharisees and the elders. Now, number 3 was the contemporary world. Reading this passage and doing more research on it made me understand even more. This passage has more than just one view. Some may think when they're reading this passage that it was basically about the soil, how people receive the word of God, but we also can look at it from the view of the sower, basically the person who's preaching and the word itself. This text is basically saying that Jesus brought the word to everyone, and to make us aware that the different soils are the obstacles of life, like busyness of the world, and can keep people away from understanding and receiving it. Also, from sharing the good news with others, Jesus is teaching people to stop going after earthly things, material things, but to stop and listen to what he is saying. It is so easy to get distracted and going after material things. For example, we're working more to get better cars or better houses. So instead of learning more about God and the word of His word, we're concentrating more on what we have and what we want to have, and the more we have, the happier we get. And basically this passage was Jesus preparing His disciples to teach others, and He had taught them how to deal with things like this and how to teach people so that they would understand and want to seek the Word of God. That's how I understood it, and that's my intake on the three worlds, so I hope I did it right.